Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Mike here, the Fresh Rinse. I am not solo. I'm only solo for so long. Jeremy is rebooting his computer, and as soon as he gets things rebooted, then he will be joining us. It's so good to see everyone tonight. Let me know that you can hear me. I think we're good to go. I think we're all right. Good to see so many people in the house already tonight. Skyrise, Tommy Bain, James Lindsay, Kraken Pressure Washing, Justin, my main man. So good to see everybody. Servant Soft Wash, Chris, you guys are awesome. So good to see you tonight. Charles Henry. Always good to see Charles Henry in the house. Good. Charles says he can hear me. Others say they can hear me. That's good. Let me lower this music a little bit so Jeremy can jump on board here in just a moment. We have so much going on. Hey, what'd you think about the intro music? We've never had intro music before. So how awesome is that we have elevated our status to intro music, and we're going to have outro music. Go figure. I mean, what is going on? So good to see everybody tonight. As soon as Jeremy gets on, then we'll really get things kicking because I've got to ask him about Sales Boost. That's going to be a huge, huge topic tonight. We'll be talking about Sales Boost. Our main topic, if you will, tonight is knowing your worth. Knowing your worth, knowing your value. What does that mean? Where does that come from? How do you determine what you are worth, how much you are worth, who you are worth, how much to, or to whom, as my wife would say. But we're going to have a great time. And so as soon as Jeremy gets on here, we'll get things going. We do see that JC is in the house. At least he was a few moments ago. And I'm sure JC's got a lot to say about Sales Boost. That's the main dude right there. So, might just pop him on to answer a few questions. I had my Sales Boost shirt on last week. I felt like I was there. I felt like I was right there. I could feel the vibes, music in the background, the whole 9 yards. Yo, 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 yo. Hope everyone is having a good week. It's Wednesday, hump day of the week. I talked to my friend Joe Deary this morning, and he told me, he said, Mike, if all goes well, at the end of the day today, I will have had 19 washes already this week. And I said, you are a dirty dog is what you are. That's what you are, is a dirty dog. But here's the thing, guys. Anybody can do that if you don't have any competition in your area, right? His only competition are his children, right? So anybody can do that. All right. Well, we have our segment coming up called WWJD. What would Jeremy do? If he ever gets on board, where you at, bro? Come on, I'm going to text him. Are you alive? And if not, can I have your golf clubs? Oh man. I was hoping you weren't going to make it because if you were dead, I was getting your golf clubs, dude. I'd already took claim on them.
Right.
So good to see you, my brother. How are you doing?
I think I'm doing better now since I'm here with video and audio. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. I can hear you.
Nice. What's going on, guys?
I was just telling everyone that Joe Deary this morning said he had 19 washes as of the end of today. I'll talk to him tomorrow and see if that actually came to fruition. But you're right, Justin. He is a beast. He is a beast. So just a little bit of clerical work here. If you have a prayer request, as most of you know, at the end of every show, we take just a minute at the end and we pray. And so if you have a prayer request, be sure and throw those out there. We'll do our very best to keep up with them. When I'm talking, Jeremy's kind of ciphering through the comments and vice versa. And so we'd be glad to do that. And we have a bunch of stuff to talk to you about for the next hour or so. Again, we'll be talking about Sales Boost, pros and cons. Probably not going to be talking much about the cons there. Maybe the 8 or 9 hours of driving that Jeremy and his lovely bride did together. They pretty much got a divorce and remarried in the time that they could get to Sales Boost and back. So, and we talk about Sales Boost. We've got WWJD. What would Jeremy do? I've got a great question for Jeremy. He has no idea what I'm going to be asking him. And then our topic for tonight is knowing your worth. Knowing your worth. What are you worth? How'd you come by that worth? All that good stuff. All right.
Yeah.
Jeremy, what's going on, buddy? Talk to us. How are you?
I'm good. Been struggling with a headache today.
Yeah,
so I think I shared that with you, but yeah, we're doing better. Got some medicine. Feels better at the moment. Medicine and food, I think, was the key. I was out here working on my tan today. It was nice and sunny and hot here in Kentucky. And I know you said it was cold.
Oh, brother. I don't know that we made it out of the 40s. And I had 3 washes today, and myself and Squirt, we froze all day long. Yeah.
Speaking of Joe, he's alive.
Joe Deary from Putnam, Connecticut.
So what are we talking about first, Mike? I missed the intro music, man. I'm
hold on a second. Don't go anywhere. Here you go. Let me pull it up here.
Yeah.
Yep. And then that'll be our outro music as well.
Okay.
We got a fan. Back there.
But no backdrop tonight, guys. I just didn't have it in me to do it.
She is the backdrop. That's a much better backdrop.
Yeah, anything for some screen time here.
Hey, Jeremy, take a minute and tell us about Sales Boost.
So let's talk about Sales Boost 2024. Man, was it an event? It was awesome. I seen that Zig had commented in here, and Charles, he commented. So let me address this.
Go ahead.
Anything for a little screen time. But Sales Boost was great. Tons of pros, not very many cons, other than the drive, which that's really not much of a. But hey, it's the worst podcast ever for a reason.
No, we're all good.
There was, it's very true. It's like drinking from a hydrant. That's what it's like. Everything just coming at you, and you're like, I got to get this, I got to get that, I got to get this. But the key thing that all the speakers pretty much said is not to do everything, just to start on the small things. Something small, something attainable, something that you can implement pretty much as soon as you got back. And figuring out what that was, because that's different for each one of us, because we're all at different stages in our business. So I felt that to be very encouraging. There's just so much, man. I mean, God, Tommy Mello calling you out as a first speaker, just calling everyone out, which was so cool, because if you're not familiar with him, you should familiarize yourself with him. He's got a great podcast. But it was just tons of fire. Dave Carroll, Dope Marketing, absolutely loved his spiel. It was eye-opening. Took a lot away from it. Took a lot away from every one of them. There was nothing not to take away from it, from every single individual. So if you missed it, don't miss it next year, because I'll be there. I'm going. It's worth it.
So that's your spiel and how to get people to come to Sales Boost. You'll be there. Okay. Well, then,
I guess Mike's going to be there too.
The plan is to be there. We shall see. Oh, it's in Orlando next year in February.
Yeah.
So my birthday's
So
February, so maybe I'll give myself a birthday present.
so the spill. So here's the spill on that. It's going to be a combination of multiple events at one location. So the Home Service Network. If JC is on here, he could explain it better. But it's the Home Service Network. It's going to be in February. You're going to have like a combination of sales boosts, responsive bid. I think it's the PWMCA, and maybe one more are going to be coming together at that time. So you're going to really be able to hop back and forth in between different classes. Guys, am I froze or is Mike froze?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't see you. There you
Okay.
go.
Well, that's not my. Hold on a second. I'm gonna try to figure this out. That'll work, but
Yeah.
Let me see here.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's me. Hey, I'm here now. But yeah, hey, if you were at, yeah, Bill, that's right. It's the PWMCA. It's in, yeah. So all that is going to be combining into the Home Service Network for, like, I don't call it a huge event. It's a massive event. It's the Home Service Network. So, if it's you or if you have you and a team or you and another tech or a salesperson or whoever you got, there'll be multiple things going on at one time. So one person can go here, one can go there. And really you can take so much value from that. So very, very excited and looking forward to it. Plus Orlando in February should be pretty nice. I'm not from, never been to Florida in February, but.
Can you hear me, Jeremy?
Mike, you're here in spirit, apparently.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to do my best here. Trying to jump on here. For some reason, it has lost connection to my camera. So I'm going to do a little reneging here. We'll see what happens. My apologies to everyone. You just never really know how these things are going to work out, but I certainly am trying. It's not for a lack of effort. Let's see here.
Weather up here in Michigan got my first gig of the season. We've been blessed in New England. Just a couple.
Am I on?
Yeah.
Can you see Nick, that hair right there?
Yeah. Nick watching from Sydney, Australia. Hey, what time is it over there, Nick? If you're still watching, I'm curious to know. What's the time difference? Videos. Yeah, well, we're glad you're here and watching. We're just trying to provide value to you guys. That's kind of the whole point of our YouTube channel. I think we find a little therapy in that as well. But It's definitely, if you've never filmed a video or try to make a video while washing, it's not always the easiest thing.
Yeah, it can be a little tough.
12 p.m. and having lunch. Nice.
Oh well, we'll try to entertain you during your lunch break.
Yeah,
Jeremy,
sorry you're spending time with us.
Time for WWJD. What would Jeremy do? And in this segment, did you notice that Jeremy just took a deep breath? Because it's in this segment where I throw an impromptu question, unrehearsed, to Jeremy. Even though we've spoken today, we have not discussed this at any length. And he's going to tell me what he would do. We need some WWJD music. And I'll put something together for next week, Lord willing. Jeremy, got a question for you, buddy. You're driving along to all your favorite hot spots where you put out signs, bandit signs, yard signs, what have you. But you got that special corner that belongs to you, right? I mean, like, this is where you pick up lots of work. You've got your 18 by 24 sign in the stake, in the ground. This thing is immovable. This is your bread and butter, and it's no longer there. In fact, it's on the ground, and someone else's pressure washing sign is in its place. My friend Jeremy, what does Jeremy do?
What does Jeremy do?
Oh, bless him, Lord.
Yeah, probably catch my breath for sure. I guess it depends I was in. No, I'm just kidding. I think that if it was in the exact same spot that I had mine in, and mine
Oh, it
was thrown
was.
out.
It was.
I mean, if it's the same exact steak hose, I'm taking it up. However, I will not be the guy that throws it away. I will put mine back into its prime real estate position and move the other to the side. I would maybe. I don't know. Should I say that? That's a little petty. I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
Maybe
Is it? I mean, this is.
maybe I just put it beside it. I don't know. I don't know. Do you take your pistol out and shoot it? I don't know what you do with it. What do you do? You know? I'm not. You kick it? I don't know.
I think you have to at least kick it.
You
You
punch
got to
it?
feel good about yourself. You got to at least
Jack,
kick
you
it.
Jackie Pan it or something like that? I don't know.
Hey, what about this? Do you call them? Can you call them up and say, "Hey, what gives?"
Zach, I ain't throwing yours away, brother. You wouldn't throw mine away, son. No, I don't. I'm not big on throw it away. I don't think throw it away. I just think put yours beside of it. I mean, that's how I look at it. I mean, I'm driving around all the time and I see Zach signs. I don't know. Zach puts out, it seems like 4,000 signs a year. It's a lot. I don't know. It's probably at least 400, all jokes aside. But I might put out a couple hundred a year, maybe 50 a year. It depends, but I don't know. I guess you could call them out. I'm a little bit country. I don't think anything. I don't think anything about it in that aspect. But what did you do?
You talking to me? What would I do?
Yeah, what did you? What did you do?
Oh, this. Okay, so I have yet to find my sign on the ground.
Oh,
Pushing up daisies or anything. But recently as the end of last year, one of my hot spots, there was a guy who put his right, like touching my sign. And I don't know, man, that didn't set too well with me. I have some, I don't know, I guess they're just standard rules, protocol, maybe. One, I never put my signs near someone else's, especially if it's solo. Like maybe if there are 1,000 political signs, I'm not putting my sign there anyways. But nonetheless,
yeah.
if these are bandit signs and they're on the side of the road, my rule is I don't put my sign near anyone else's. I may put it on the other side of the street. I may put it on the adjacent corner, but it's not going near that guy's sign. To me, that's just tacky. It's classless, and I'm just not doing it. If that happened to me and my sign was on the ground, I might call them up. I might send a text with a picture and say, "Hey, if this was you, let's not do that anymore." But that did happen to me in that the sign was right next to mine. It was the last month of the year, and I just kind of let it go. But that's not cool, guys. We might do a whole episode on being, showing class to your fellow classmen.
Pressure washing etiquette.
Pressure washing etiquette, absolutely.
So, in all seriousness, so I went and did an estimate 2 days ago. The guy called me. Maybe called me. What is today? Wednesday. I guess he called me when I was at sales booth, and he's like, "Hey, I saw your sign at the end of our road." And I said, "Oh, okay, that's cool. It's in Whitley County." Just for reference to Zach, it's in Whitley County. I don't think he has anything down in that neck of the woods where mine was at, because I ain't seen anybody else's. But I saw your sign at the end of the road. I got your number, so I called you. So I'm pulling in, and mind you, we're out in the country, so it's kind of hard not to know where your signs are, where we're at. And I turned in, and I said that sign was up against that stop sign, because I'm pretty religious to lean it right up against that stop sign, and it was gone. Like, I looked in the grass, I looked everywhere. I mean, gone
out of here.
I joked with the guy. I said, "Hey, man, you said you found me on a yard sign at the end of the road, right?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "I took a picture of it." This is an older guy, probably in his 60s or 70s, and his wife was like, "Yeah, that's how we found you." I said, "That sign's gone." And he was joking with me on the phone when he called me. He's like, "I'm going to have to charge you rent for that sign," just picking with me,
Sure.
And we ha about it. But I said, "I need to pay you that rent because that sign's gone." And he was just dying. He said, "I didn't touch that sign." I said, "I know you didn't." I said, "But it's really gone." He jerked his phone out. And he's like, "Right here it was. I took a picture of it."
Wow.
So needless to say, when I pulled out, when I pulled out, I stuck another sign right in the back, same spot.
That's right. Absolutely.
Break it up. I got another one. I got another one for you.
Speaking of another one, before we, Jeremy's got a story that he's going to tell us here in just a few moments about something that happened to him today. And guys, you don't want to leave. This story is an all-time classic. And so in about, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes, he's going to share this story. And it's a golden nugget. You're going to enjoy it. But let me just real quickly, if you would like to make a donation for the cause or to the cause, Jeremy, if you'd throw up our Venmos and all of that good stuff. Seems like every week somebody says, how can I contribute to the cause? And there are people who literally text me and say, I want to send you money. It feels very, very uncomfortable, very, very weird. But as Jeremy and I have discussed it, it makes sense that if you feel like there's value that we're giving you, not only on the week-to-week basis with the podcast, but on a daily basis with our respective YouTube channels, then you can do a Venmo and a Cash App to myself or Jeremy Messer. And man, we certainly do appreciate it. And we won't turn that down. We just with humility say thank you, thank you, thank you. Jeremy, earlier today, you were sharing a story with me that at the end, I said, Jeremy, would you mind sharing that with our fellow washers tonight? And you said you would. So unrehearsed, Jeremy has a wonderful story about a customer who showed his muscles today.
Oh, very much so. He very much did.
The stage is yours, my friend.
Thought he's about to Chuck Norris me. But so backstory is so today's Wednesday. Yesterday it was raining. I had this guy scheduled. It was only for a driveway cleaning, real simple, nothing crazy. And so I show up. I tell the guys, hey, we can go ahead. We can take care of your driveway in the rain. I said the rain to kind of keep things rinsed. And he was cool with it. And mind you, this guy was a referral to me last year from another wash company. My buddy James McGuire sent me this guy's contact info because he wanted the driveway done. So go out last year, pre-treat it, surface clean it, throw a little post-treat down, little suds. Dude was super happy, super stoked with everything. So he calls me back the other day. Why is that sales boost? He's like, hey, it's been about a year since you did the driveway. He said, I need to get the driveway done again. I said, hey, okay. Yeah, we can do that. And I'm just going to go ahead and reference it. It was $335. This will come into the story later. And I said, yeah, we'll be out there. I said, same price last year, no problem. I was like, oh, this is, I've already really cleaned it very thoroughly. How bad could it be? So it's raining. I'm out there. Doesn't look that bad, even though it's raining. So I surface clean it, jerk out the mini Mondo. I'm out there with my rain gear. I just made double passes just to be on the safe side. About 2,500 PSI, nothing crazy. So got it all clean and was rinsing it off, even though it was raining. It has a low spot, so all the stuff kind of comes to a low spot. Got the sludge sucker out, popped it out, knocked the rest of the dirt and all this that I could with the rain. I was like, hey, you still got this low spot. He's like, yeah, it's been there. I know. No problem. No worries. It's okay. So anyways, I'm out today on a roof clean, just pulled in. It's a pretty good sized roof. I'm going to be there for a minute. It's almost 5,000 square feet. So I'm like, I'm going to be here for a few hours. This guy calls me. He calls me and he has an attitude straight from the phone call. Mind you, this guy's probably about 5'5", 65. He's probably about 75 years old. Not as old as Mike, but
Don't be making fun of the short guys.
yeah. But I'm just trying to picture it. He's like a small, older gentleman, real nice, humble. Every time I've ever talked to him, almost gives you like, I don't know, he's just humble and quiet, very respectful. So pretty much instantly had an attitude with me on the phone and said that I should have known better, that his driveway wasn't clean now that it's dry, that it looks horrible, that I ripped him off. He couldn't believe it. He had great service. Wow. And I just said, sir, I said, he's like, you can't clean concrete in the rain. I was like, well, that's not true. We do it often, and it actually helps with the rinsing and keeping things moving so it don't dry. But anyways, I said, I assure you, I'm getting ready to clean this roof. I'm going to be here for a little bit. As soon as I get done, I'll call you. I'll be on my way. So this is like next town over. So it's about 25 minutes, something like that. So I'm on this roof on a ladder. He calls me. I don't answer it because I don't answer the call if I'm on the ladder, especially if I'm spraying the roof. So it come through my watch, so I saw who it was. So I get down. I'm moving stuff around, and he calls me again. He's like, I've called you once, and I've tried calling you, and you're not answering. And you said you'd be here in an hour. And I said, I didn't say I'd be there in an hour, but I'll be there at the end of the day. I said, sir, I have about 30 minutes to an hour left at this job. As soon as I wrap up, head your way from Corbin. He said, okay. I get down there. It's probably 4:30-ish, somewhere in that area. So I hop out, and I'm just walking over the driveway to like, what's he talking about? Where is this at? I'm looking at it. It looks clean. So I walk over, and I see this one section about like this that's maybe 1.5 feet, 2 foot long. If it's even that, it's probably not even that long. And it just kind of looks like you didn't overlap your surface cleaner. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. And, but it wasn't where he said it was, because he told me in the phone call where this section was at. And I was like, well, this is not even where he's talking about. I walk up. Hey, Rod, I said, do you care to come out here and show me what you're talking about? Instantly, his face just looked funny. Shut the door, got his shoes on, come outside. Instant attitude the whole time. And I'm like, I said, I just wanted you to show me what you're talking about so I can see what you're seeing. And pretty much there's these three, like, it looks like 3 lines, but I didn't see any lines. It was just like 3 sections, small sections. So he bends over with his hand and he comes through and he sweeps it out. Like, you see this right here? This right here is what I'm talking about. Do you see that? And I said, I don't see what you're talking about.
I don't see it.
I don't see it. I just don't see it. And I think that may have made him mad, but I was being honest. Like, I didn't see it. And he said, you didn't even put any chemical treatment down yesterday because it was raining when you left. And I was like, yeah, it was raining. And it wasn't that dirty. But anyways, so I said, okay. And he said, what kind of man are you? You come out here. I paid you good money to clean this driveway, $335. What kind of man are you? And I said, well, I like to think I'm a good man. I said, if I'm trying to be, or I wouldn't have come back here. I wouldn't have come back here. I said, I could have been like every other dirty contractor and just not answered your call or showed back up. I said, but I'm here. I want to make it right.
Good for you.
So I'm here to serve. You're my customer. You're not happy. How can I fix it? So he said, just clean it. And you're probably not even going to spray my garage door off now. You're probably mad. I can see it. I was like, I was like boiling inside because I was like, this guy, like, he talked to me wrong. I've never been talked to like this ever by a customer. Maybe I'm an exception because I'm sure some of you guys probably have, but I've never had it. And so anyways, I cleaned it. I so let's say I got the 12 volt out, turned the soap wide open, turned it on about 3%. Suds was everywhere on this driveway. I come through with the mini Mondo and it just looked like suds galore. And I was like, oh, he's going to see these suds now. So I'm just out here, I'm double passing it back and forth just as fast as I can go because it was already clean. You know, I cleaned this driveway in like 15 minutes. And I mean, it's a decent sized driveway based off, the price I just told you, but, rinsed it off. And next thing I know, I'm trying to blow all these suds off. Suds are everywhere. They're in his landscape. They're on his grass. So it's like, I've probably killed the guy's grass now. So I was like, I'm just over here and I'm watering the grass and trying to get it back out. But anyways, needless to say, I think I handled it well. After I got everything cleaned up the right way, post-treated, knocked on the door, stood there 5 minutes. Guy never comes to the door. I was like, maybe he's eating, whatever. So I just left. And anyways, so I'm sitting at Mexican. I stop at Mexican in Corbin. I'm sitting there by myself. I got a headache. I'm not feeling well. And he calls me. He said, hey, Jeremy, this is Rod. I just want to apologize for the way that I acted and I talked to you. He said, I think I was having a little PTSD from Vietnam flashback, so I apologize for the way that I treated you. I said, I appreciate that, Rod.
Wow.
I said, how's your drive? It looks great. It looks great.
It looked great before.
I said, okay. Oh, so
Jeremy's in the Mexican restaurant, curled up in a fetal position in the corner, sucking on his thumb, and this poor guy's having flashbacks from Vietnam. Honestly, you just never know. And I asked Jeremy to share the story because, if you just watch YouTube, especially my channel where I'm just full of laughs and spray and squirt and everything else, a lot of times you might think that it's just all roses out there, but man, I'm telling you, I've got some horror stories that I had to. I stood in a driveway last year on a concrete job. I stood in the garage and told the man, I feel like you are trying to rip me off. I will blacklist you and don't ever call me again. I mean, I literally said, don't ever call me again. We have these stories and they need to be shared from time to time because someone who's just starting out in the industry thinks that it's all about just cashing checks. And I got to tell you, sometimes the stress level is so high that you wish you were clocking in and clocking out at the factory. You just, I'm telling you.
Well, I was bullying to where I wanted to say, I don't want you for a customer. Let me go get your money.
Right.
You can have it back.
Right. Right.
But then again, I remembered I got to pay taxes. So
we had a question here, and we're going to talk about knowing your worth. But Justin here watched my video from earlier today. It's loaded, of course, and you can watch it. And in that video, I mentioned how I soap a four-sided house. And I mentioned that, and I was a little bit of confusion there. Can you hear me?
How you soap what?
How I soap a four-sided house, basically what the process is of soaping a house. And as I go back and look at the video, I can see where that Justin might have been a little bit confused. Let me just share with Justin, because he had asked me earlier off camera if I would share this, and here we have a reminder. Generally speaking, I do exactly the opposite of what Joe Deary does, and so I'm probably wrong. Joe stretches his hose all the way out and then washes from that furthest point and washes back around. I start at the front of a house. Generally speaking, I pull my hose out, kind of loop it back and forth in the front yard, and then I just, as soon as I fire my machine up, I grab my gun and I start spraying, and I soap three sides. So I soap the front of the house, we'll say the west side of the house, the back of the house, and then I start rinsing from that side, from that back end, if you will, the back side of the house, get to the front. I'm fully ready to rinse all of that. And then I have that one side left over. I don't know if that helps to answer your question, but I do not stretch it all the way around and then wash back around. I just start as soon as I get out. My setup time from the time I pull up in front of the house, barring there's no customer standing there watching me, is about 3 minutes. And I don't run anything through my hose reel. So I hustle. I'm a hustler, but I'm putting out my sign. I'm hooking into the customer's water spigot. I'm pulling my hose, and I'm immediately washing. And that's how I do it. I soap from the front of the house, the one side, the back, rinse all the way back around, and then I wash that one side. And I hope that helps to answer your question.
So, Mike.
Yes, sir.
3 sides at one time. You don't do one side at a time. What do you do? I don't know. I guess it does get pretty hot up there where you're at, but what do you do, say, in July when it's 98 degrees outside? How do you say you soap it the same way? Or are you doing one side at a time? Or, I mean, I feel like there's sometimes down here in Kentucky that I've done like a half a side.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I get it. And keep in mind, not only is it hot here in Ohio, but it's flat. And so we get that baking sun on a house, and like you mentioned in the previous video about flash oxidation. That'll happen not only on the windows, but on the vinyl as well. The idea is just to keep it wet. I do not use surfactant. That may help because nothing's really drying on the house. So if it's oxidized, of course, I'm doing that mistance. If you haven't seen my mistance video, you need to go back to my channel and you can see how to wash an oxidized house when the process is not to remove oxidation. My process is pretty much the same year round. Obviously, if the front of the house is where the sun is facing, I do not let that dry. And I think that's really what you're asking is, if it's really hot, do I let it dry? The answer is no. So in that case, maybe it's 2 sides. But generally speaking, I can do 3 sides and then that 4th side, and I'm in and out in about an hour and 15 minutes at the most on an average house.
Yeah, I'm very much like Joe. I like to take my hose all the way around as far as I can get it and start. And I might soak 2 to 3 sides from that way around and then just go back and come back and rinse.
I guess the reason I don't do that, Jeremy, and there's different protocol for different people, is I don't want to have to walk there and then start my walk all the way back to start my equipment. So my hose gets strung out in the front yard. I've got 50 feet or less to walk back to my machine. And then I'm almost on the trigger. In fact, sometimes I've got the trigger in my hand when I start it. And as I'm walking up through the stinking yard, I'm spraying, at the very least, I'm spraying vegetation. Yeah, I'm going at it. And I'm at the very least spraying vegetation. Most of you know I keep a roll of duct tape on my wrist. I do property protection as I go. So, in fact, now Michaela's doing that for me, which is a huge plus. But
I wish I could fit a roll of duct tape on my wrist.
Yeah, I've lost a little bit of weight, but I will say somebody asked me that. Somebody actually asked me in the field, Mike, I'm here in the field. How do I get duct tape on my hand? You have to remove that. You have to wet it down, lubricate it, put some Vaseline on it. You know, Jeremy, you've been there before. You know what that looks like. Come on. Hope that helps to answer your question.
Absolutely.
Guys,
I wasn't trying to do that. I hit a button here.
The subject tonight for the next 30 minutes or so is knowing your worth.
Yeah.
Knowing your worth.
What does that mean?
I don't know. I don't even know what that means.
Who knows? Who knows?
So, Jeremy, I'm going to tell you, I've got mixed feelings about this because it seems to be a real fancy catchphrase that I see on our pressure washing Facebook pages all the time. And it's usually some guys, hear me out when I say this, because I'm not mad. I'm not even, I mean, like, whatever. I don't even care. But I do feel like there needs to be some attention given to this because that phrase, know your worth, it's never said really for the sake of encouragement. Most of the time, all it does is just boost our egos. There will be guys who have been washing for 2 weeks and they see this thing on Facebook where somebody who's been washing for years says, guys, stick with your price, know your worth. And the guy who's been washing for 2 weeks, he's pounding his chest and he says, yes, I'm worth $500. And I want to say, no, you're not. You're not worth $500. And just because somebody else on Facebook or YouTube tells you that you need to stick to your guns and don't let some customer who doesn't know what they're talking about try to talk you down, you know your worth. It makes for a great halftime locker room speech. But I'm going to say this, and Jeremy, you may have some thoughts on this. Nobody knows your worth more than the customer. The fact of the matter is, none of us are worth anything, and we are not worth more than what the customer is willing to pay. We are worth what the market will allow for us to be worth. Nothing more, nothing less. So you can say you're worth $300 an hour. You can say you're worth $500 an hour. Fact of the matter is, if the customer doesn't pay for it, you're not worth it.
No. I like that. It's a little different.
It's my little spill.
Should we say know your value?
So, case in point, Jeremy.
Yeah.
A gentleman messages me today, text message, previous customer. I had done some concrete work for him, 2 years ago. Fantastic people. And now he wants his full driveway washed. Jeremy, the driveway was 13,000 square feet. 13,000 square feet. It was so long that in my head, I thought to myself, I don't know if I've got enough hose. Even if I park Jazzy in the middle of the driveway, I could probably do that.
Yeah.
But when I threw a price tag at him that was right at $3,000, I could hear crickets. He has yet to respond. I'm looking at my phone. Has he responded? No, he has yet to respond. This was just about 4 hours ago. He messages me, Mike, how much to wash my driveway? You did a fantastic job washing the pool last year, 2 years ago. Hit me with your best price. It was nearly $3,000. And we went back and forth until I gave him the price, asking how the kids are doing. Man, we're going to have 4th of July dinner together. And then I gave him a price and I hear crickets. The fact of the matter is, he's not going to pay $3,000 to have his driveway washed.
Well, he might. Hold your breath on it, son. He might.
Maybe if it happens, I will
believe in yourself. Know your worth, Mike.
Now, what if he comes back and says, how about $2,000, Mike?
No.
Some people will say, know your worth.
Yeah.
You know you're worth that. Well, what I have to ask is, do I have enough money coming in to dictate me saying, no, I can't do it for less than $2,700?
Yeah.
I got to know my worth, but my bill collectors, my banker, my wife who needs a new purse, my kids who need new shoes, all of those things begin to tell me what I'm really worth. I can tell you I'm worth this much, but if the customer isn't willing to pay it, then I'm not worth that much.
Yeah. So I would like to approach that little situation in two different ways.
Have at it.
Absolutely no to the 2,000. I think that's too low.
Sure.
Especially for March, April, May, going forward, especially
Good
for March.
point.
You call me in January, 2,000 might be a little bit different.
Right.
It might be a little bit different. February, mid-March, late March, I don't think so. But here's the thing is, okay, let me share this with you, Zig. You can attest to this. This is when you say, okay, Mr. Customer, you're saying $2,000. How long would it take you to come up with that other $1,000? And then maybe they give you an answer, maybe they don't, but if they say, we could probably have it in next month. Well, great. If you'd like, we can go ahead and take a deposit of half up front. And then once we complete the job, you can pay the other half.
Okay. I like that.
Thank you, Pat Clark, for that.
I like that, Jeremy. I'm not in opposition to that. And then This comment here, follow up, never assume. I learned that. Go for no. He might have got busy. He may. And, there are exceptions to every rule. We know that. And yes, I always like to follow up. But I will tell you that some jobs, I priced one yesterday. I priced a warehouse yesterday. I think it was $4,300. It was a good day's ticket.
Yeah.
It was a 1-day job, but it was a huge warehouse, Jeremy. Now, no ladder work, huge warehouse, but they had one water spigot. That means something to me.
It does.
Because now I've got to drive Jazzy around 1,500 times. So there's an upcharge for that. The guy was all about me coming. He said, I just want to get one price. Shoot it to me. Send him the text. And he said, we'll get back with you. Maybe they will. I will probably get back with him. But here's the thing. If they don't call me back, I'm fine with that because I've got work lined up. And that needs to be understood that if I've got work lined up, I can't come down on my price. I'm actually losing money by coming down on my price. That has nothing to do with my worth.
Yeah.
And that's really the topic. How do we know our worth? So let's talk about that. How does a person know their worth? Again, I've already said that the customer will decide that.
You think a customer decides it?
Well,
you're only worth you're worth what the market will pay you is essentially
that's what I'm
your
saying.
response. I feel like that's true to a point, but I feel like there's always outliers in certain situations because there's always someone who's premium. There's always a different market. So I think you have to assume or you have to analyze who is your market, right? Because there's a whole bunch of us guys that's going to drive Chevys and Fords and Hondas and Toyotas. But there's also a lot of people that's going to drive Lexus and Mercedes and BMWs. And then there's also a lot of guys that's going to drive Porsches and Rolls Royces and Lamborghinis and Ferraris. So I think that maybe that's still true that your market will dictate your price, but then you probably need to really analyze who is your market or what is your market? Is that the market you want to be in? Because there's really no wrong answer for wanting to be in any market other than maybe being the $99 guy market or only wanting to watch mobile home market. But and maybe that's a market. But
sure.
I think that yes, somewhat can the market can maybe factor into somewhat of the pricing. I think that you can also maybe set the bar or educate to help increase that aspect of it. But I think when knowing your worth, I think you have to know some things. I think you have to know your numbers. I think you have to know your, as far as the business goes, you need to know your daily operating cost. You know, what's it costing you per day just to have a business? You know, that factors in your marketing, payroll if you have payroll, or insurance, chemicals, you know, just the things you use every day, the subscriptions that you may use for your CRM and stuff. You need to break that into daily cost. Like,
absolutely. That's
what
good.
does this not monthly's fine too, but you need to go down even farther. You need to niche that down even farther so you'll really have a real good understanding. Because like I have a go and a number in my head of a daily minimum that I want to meet. It's still well in excess of my actual operating cost, but I feel like I've accomplished something pretty good if I hit that minimum number. Like, hey, this was a great day. This hitting those numbers allow for growth.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know if I answered that or if I just went into a rabbit hole.
No, I think you did. I think you did, and you brought up several things there that are worthy of conversation. Soft Lab EC asked a question: how do you find out what your market will pay besides trial and error? The best way to find a starting price. Jeremy really hit that. You know, you have to know what your individual bills are. So I can't tell you what your minimum should be. I can't tell you what your daily minimum should be. Keep in mind, and just being fully transparent, I'm virtually out of debt. Like I'm one of those no debt kind of guys for the most part. And any debt that's within my business pays for. And so personally, I really don't have any overhead. And then I'm blessed. I have multiple homes. This has just been positioning myself to where at this stage in my life, I can do free jobs if I want to. I can take $1,000 off a wash if I want to and still come out ahead. Now, I don't do that because that's not good business. But some people absolutely cannot take a dime off of their price. And that doesn't mean that's what you're worth. That just means that's what the bank is telling you you got to pay. And that Jeremy, I got to tell you, and I feel like some people need to hear this because I know this, and so I share and have great compassion on you because I've been there.
Yeah.
The stress level of taking every single job because your bills are insurmountable otherwise, that's huge. Because Jeremy, what happened to you today is compounded stress because something you did not share in that story, and I hope you don't mind me sharing it, is that you had to postpone a job that you had scheduled today to go take care of this guy who was having an episode. And it's not his fault. It's not your fault. It's just life. You had to postpone a job. You had to call another customer and say, I'm sorry. I know that you took the day off so I could be there to watch. Listen, that's stress. But imagine if you've got bills to pay on top of bills to pay, and you're not robbing Peter to pay Paul, but you're robbing Peter and Paul. My encouragement is do everything you can to get out of debt. So when you have a situation like Jeremy had today, the stress is already there, but it's not compounded because you've got bills that you should never be in a position to where you cannot say no. In fact, I've got a blacklist. I've got customers that I will not work for who are telling me, I'll pay you. Just come take my money. I won't work for them because of the way that they treated me. Now, that's not me being arrogant. That's not me trying to punish them. I'm so blessed to have work coming in that I don't have to take every single job. And that's 10 years coming in. So that hasn't always been that case. I mean, I can tell you there have been times when I have been soaked from head to toe. It's 7:00 p.m. in the evening, and I'm still washing the house because I cannot go home and face my wife knowing that I left good employment to take this job on, and I got to get the money. Well, that's a terrible place to be in. I pity those who. So how do you find out what your market will pay? It truly is trial and error, but there's no best way to find a starting price. You just got to go out and work. And then I will say this, and I'll shut up, Jeremy, and I apologize for lingering so long. The last thing the question is, what's the best way to find your starting price? For me, when my average what am I thinking? Say that again. My closing rate. Thank you. When my closing rate is below 60%, I might start lowering my price a little bit. I probably don't do that. But if it's above 70%, like I'm closing 70% of my jobs, then I'm going to increase probably 8 to 10% on a house wash. And try to keep it around that 70% mark. That's safe for me.
Yeah, that's nice. That's good. Uh, but my opinion on best way to find the starting price is throw something out there. Throw something out there.
Yep.
And in Soft Lab, I'm going to say have a minimum price for your service. Now, that's adjustable as far as until you dial in what you know your minimum price needs to be. I think.
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry. 1984. If anyone's really dying to know, I'm sorry, Jeremy. Go ahead.
I don't know. But anyways, what I was saying is, it is trial and error, man. It's you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out, and just keep increasing your pricing until you get more no's. Until you hit about that 60% mark. That's great advice.
That's basically what Action Power Wash LLC has just said. Your starting price, start pricing where you want to be, then lower it until you get to closing rate that you. Okay, fair enough. Where have you been our whole program? Nice.
Oh gosh, what's the deal with the Fiero?
Like, where's it at and what's going on with it?
Well, I mean, yeah, where is it?
Well,
I haven't seen.
It's got a leaking head gasket. That's all I need to do to fix that. And I've been away since December, but me and Michaela were talking about it today. I have a thing with her. She can drive. She drives a stick shift like nobody's business. But the Fiero stick shift is a hard car to drive. And so what we're going to do soon, and it will be a full video, is I'm going to put 4 $5 bills on the dashboard. If she can pull out the first time without killing it, she gets all 4 or $5 bills, all $20. If she kills it,
hard about it?
It's a tough one. It's a tough one. It's real, like you got to put your muscle into it. Everything's sticky about the Fiero, and that's historic to the Fiero, at least the early models. Okay. I learned how to drive in that car. I not only learned how to drive a stick shift, I learned how to drive in that car. And Michaela, she's something else. She I think she'll get all $20. She's pretty good. So we'll see.
Oh yeah. I'm pretty sure it's been some years, but I've always drove a standard shift up until probably just a few years ago, maybe like 4. I even think I took my license test in the standard shift. Like I was driving when I was 12. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I learned how to drive in that Fiero, and I took my driver's lessons in that Fiero, to get my driver's license, and I was scared to death. CleanMax Exterior Power Washing says, or the reverse, if the customer's accepting your quote right away, it could mean your prices are low and you should raise it. If that happens consecutively, if that continues to happen, and people are like, oh yeah, well, how soon can you get here? And that happens half the time, then yeah, you probably your prices are too low.
Let me throw this out there. And this might be an unpopular opinion or statement or comment or whatever. Especially if you're new. If they said, hey, we had it washed last year or whatever, if they make that comment that they've paid to have it done before, just be like, hey, just out of curiosity, how much did they charge you? Yeah. You never know. Someone might actually tell you. Just saying. And then you could be like, God, no wonder they with me. I was $150 cheaper. Boom. All right, there you go. Then you know there's room to improve. So that's possible. So,
Jeremy, this happened to me this week. Jeremy, you know, most of you guys know that I don't do a lot of in-person estimates. I venture to say that just this week I have done more than I may have done all last year. Some were drive-by, like that warehouse I was telling you about. But I got a call from a guy. He said, can you come out and look at my deck? Now, I don't like doing wooden decks, but this is a composite deck. He says, it's very large. Can you come out? And I thought, you know what? They're telling us a sales boost. You should go out and do in-person estimates and try to sell as much as you can. So I put on my sales boost hat, if you will, and I go out, beautiful home. The deck is ginormous. But Jeremy, you know as well as I do, composite decks are easy to wash, like they're just easy to wash. I love washing those things because the homeowner, they're blown away because they thought we were going to be there all day. We're only there for an hour and the thing looks pristine. It's like a vinyl fence. I love washing them. They're easy to wash. The guy told me, if he told me once, Jeremy, he told me a dozen times, your price needs to be right. If he mentioned price once, he mentioned it 12 times. At one point, I tried to pull a sales boost on him, and I said, have you considered your driveway, Mr. Johnson? And he said, time out. This is what the guy, he said, time out. He said, we're not talking about anything else until I hear the price on the deck. Let's focus on, this guy's telling me, the homeowner says, let's focus on the deck. I'm like, what about the canopy right up here? You got this awning. Let's focus on the deck. I was having a blast. I sent him the price. Oh, by the way, he told me, he said, now I've already got another estimate. And he said, I couldn't believe how much it cost. And I said, and he said, I'm not going to tell you how much it was. Okay, whatever. I go home. I figure it up. I send him the price along with the price for the canopy and for the driveway. Even though he told me not to, I went ahead and quoted those because, Jeremy, you told me that's what I'm supposed to do.
Always.
He responded immediately and said, absolutely, and include the driveway and the canopy. And while you're here, I have some other stuff. And I'm like, dang it. I must have been way too low. I mean, not only did he want the deck washed, now I'm stuck doing everything. And I know that was the idea, but I know that my price was way too low. I just know it was.
I would rather be in one spot doing 6 things than wash 6 individual houses. I'd rather stay in that one spot. That's just me. But
and the guy, let me tell you, the old man is going to be like this the whole time, and he's going to be watching me.
Those kind of, ask him if he wants to spray. Ask him if he want to clean it.
He's going to be peeping through the blinds the whole time, watching the fresh.
That's like the guy watching me clean the driveway today. Make sure I actually cleaned it. You might get a call back.
I got to share this story. Gosh, Jeremy, it's been 6 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago. This guy came out. He watched me through the blinds. He watched me through the door. He came out several times, told me about spots that I was missing on the house. He was driving me nuts. I had my best buddy, Danny, in my ear, and we're talking. And I told Danny, I said, I swear, Danny, I was so mad, Jeremy. I was so angry. I said, I swear, if he comes out here one more time, I'm going to walk off the job. I mean, that's where I was. Because, I'm a big, bad dude. You don't mess with the fresh. You don't mess with the fresh.
Yeah.
And I kid you not, he came out and I was ready. I swear I was ready to leave. And he said, you are doing an amazing job. He gave me a tip and a 5-star Google review and referred me to his girlfriend. And all the while, I was ready to leave. So who's the baby now? I was the baby. Yes, Marcade is the best as far as I'm concerned, but I've never tried anything else. So how do I know?
That's awesome. That's awesome, dude. That's a good story. I know. I call them helicopter customers. It is what it is. You always have to deal with them. There's always some of them. Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm like, well, maybe you should call them. I have no problem with that. In fact, today on an estimate, I did an estimate on a roof, and the guy was like, well, actually, I got a couple more coming. And I said, well, that's cool. I said, I don't really know who they are. I said, but there's only about 3 of us in this area that I would recommend. And I said, and I'm one of those. So there's really 2 others, 3 others. Maybe I said 3 others who I would feel confident in recommending you. If you wanted to use them. Zach's one of them. Chris is one. Eric's one. So I have no problem with that.
The gear. Benjamin Gregory in the house, my brother.
That's a legend right there.
You're late to the show, but we're glad that you're here. We're talking about knowing your worth. And you know what? I don't want to come across as bitter. I guess I just, more often than not, when that phrase is used, there's an element of arrogancy behind it that is probably unwarranted. Guys, only you know what your bills are. Only you know what your financial situation is. Don't let myself, Jeremy, or anybody else tell you that you shouldn't come down on your prices. And then in addition to that, let me say this. Just because, now hear me out, please hear me out here. Just because the customer asks for a discount does not make them cheap.
I asked for a discount today on my oil change.
There you go.
I said you give military discount?
Yeah, fair enough. But I hear that. I hear some guys on other podcasts and other channels, and they're saying, never come down. Those cheap SOBs, they're just a bunch of cheap SOBs they're asking for a discount. Maybe that's what they have. Maybe they're broke. Maybe while it's a luxury item, maybe they just don't have that much. And guess what? Maybe they're the nicest people on the planet, but you're only worth as much as they have. And if your bills dictate that you come down on your price to get the job, provide for your family, for crying out loud. That's your responsibility. Yeah. It's not my responsibility. Let me say that. It's not my place to tell you what your responsibilities are. Your responsibilities are to provide for your family, but I don't know what your needs are. So if it means you need to come down and then you put your head down and you work like a dog to pay for or to provide for your family, I applaud that, even if you had to come down on your price. So don't listen to these guys who are giving these great locker room speeches saying, never come down on your price. I would say, do everything you can to not come down on your price, but don't do it with arrogancy. Your family's worth more than that.
Yeah. Tiger Blast. I don't think discounts are red flags. Personally, I mean, I don't offer discounts unless you're a veteran. Then I'll give you a 10% discount. That's how I have been. I'm just not a big discount guy unless it's a package or a bundle of service. If you get my Platinum Prestige package, which is everything on your property, you get 10%. And I'm talking everything.
Sure.
Roof, house, windows, driveways, sidewalks, you name it, the gnome in the landscape, you get 10%. But outside of that, the medium package, it's only on packages.
Sure. Right.
Medium package, middle package, 5, big package, 10. Outside of that, military only.
Now, something that I do, and I applaud that, Jeremy, something that I do, and this, I don't know if this is a pro tip, take it for what it's worth. When I'm pricing a driveway, somebody says, I want my driveway, my patio, and my front walkway washed. How much? What I'll do is I will measure the driveway, eyeball the back patio, and throw in the front walkway. And the way that I word that is this. Janice, your driveway measures 1,200 square feet. And that comes to, and I'll say this price. Because I'm already there, and there's a reason why I say that. Because I'm already there, I'm willing to wash your driveway I'm willing to wash your patio for only $30. We're talking this little patio. And I'm going to wash the front walkway at no additional cost to you. In addition to that, every element washed will receive a full algicide treatment at no additional cost to you. And they're getting it. They are getting the front walkway for free. That I'm not lying. I'm throwing that in for free. And if I've discounted anything, I've discounted the patio, and I've said while I'm already there, because I don't want them 2 months later calling up and saying, "Oh yeah, you said you'd wash the patio for $30." Well, no, that was while I was already there. You see.
Yeah.
So I give a discount within the framework of the quote, and it's usually something that I was going to do for free anyways, like the front walkway.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you on that. I should have thought of, and I kind of count that as a bundle. While I'm
Same
here,
difference. Same
while
difference.
I'm here, price.
Yeah.
So, action. Yeah, this hair, man, it is bad, ain't it? Look at that. It's all
You
gone,
got that-
man. My face, my hair.
You've got that wavy hair. It's
Let me tell you-
waving,
no.
waving goodbye.
Yeah. Hey, if the top goes and the sides stay, I'm gonna look like Hulk Hogan, baby. I'm growing it out.
Jeremy
Come on,
Olson says, I've sometimes asked what is your budget? And can I tell you something? I envy you because I cannot get those words to come out of my mouth. I want to so desperately ask them what their budget is, but I don't know. I can't manage to do it. I don't know. My anxiety level gets too high or something, but I would love to be able to get there someday to be able to ask them what their budget is.
Yeah. Oh, Justin asked me a price. 10%, Justin, for military. That's it. So I feel like that's a pretty fair discount that most people offer military anyways. So yeah.
Well,
who was asking about packages? Do you guys sell own packages, or do you single service as long as they meet your minimum? So Skyrise, one thing I took away from Sales Boost is sell more packages, man. Get your average ticket up. Right? I don't know what your average ticket is. I know what mine is, and I'd like to double it. So I'm trying to add packages. So now I generally have, like, if there's a house, I've usually tried to sell the driveway and sidewalk or patio or whatever. And sometimes, depending on the situation, maybe the roof. But now going forward, I'm pricing everything.
yeah.
And I've actually got a demo. With the responsive bid to see how I can set that up to integrate when I send a quote that it lets them package it for a bundle or a discount. I don't know all the details, but I have a demo set up for like 2 weeks. So I want to check that out.
Lynchburg Pro Wash. Lynchburg, is this your first time ever joining us? I don't remember seeing that. Lynchburg.
That's Dave.
I'm sorry?
That's Dave. Dave Markland.
Okay, Dave. I know Dave, but I don't recognize that logo. He asked a question: thoughts on pricing high and getting fewer jobs versus low pricing with higher volume. Jeremy and I, we don't necessarily see eye to eye on this, so I'll go first. And Jeremy, you give us the last word because you're probably right. We'll save the best for last. I am a high volume, what I call high volume fair price. I did a video on this just last week. You can go back on my channel, Dave, and you can see that. And the reason being is because I call it large portfolio. I like to have a large portfolio. I have from the beginning. 10 years ago, I started out pricing my jobs to where I could work. I price it where I can work. Now, as I'm entering into my 10th year, my prices, I look today and I'm at the 60% closing rate. Like, I'm right on the cusp of, like, what do I need to do about my prices because they've elevated so high. That being said, of the 60 or so, the 50 to 60 that I like to keep in my queue at all times, 90% of those are previous customers, existing customers. And the only way that that's possible is because I have so many washes under my belt. So I can go back into that portfolio and I can pull out washes if things get low. Thank you, Sterling Wash, for the donation.
Yes, thanks, Mike.
I can go back into my portfolio and I can pull washes out. And so I always know I'm going to be washing. That's why I like large portfolio, or shall we call high volume, fair ticket. Jeremy, tell me what you think.
I'd rather do less and make more. That's just me. I'd rather be in one spot instead of multiple spots. And I think to each their own. There's really no right or wrong answer, I don't think, because I mean, there's different business models for different people, and it's your business, and you get to decide on how you want to do it.
Right.
But you know, I much rather there again. I think that probably goes to like who you're marketing to, or who's your ideal client, who,
Nice.
you know what I'm saying? It's different. Like, I feel like most of my clients are professionals as far as lawyers, business owners, doctors. Don't get me wrong, I get the school teachers and stuff like that, but I feel like more so than not, I get the bigger homes and in the, what's the right word to say? I don't want to say like a different class. I don't feel like that's the right way to say that, but it's just it's like it's kind of like going from the Honda to the Mercedes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just in that different approach to where I want to be their exterior cleaner, and we're gonna, you know, premier premium service. So yeah, I'd much rather, and I think for the most part, some agree, some don't agree, but I'd rather park my truck in one place for. I'm just gonna throw a number out for, you know, $1,500 and do a roof, a house, and maybe a driveway or something like that, and then instead of doing like 5 $300 house washes or 3 $500 house washes.
Jake Rice says the word is affluent. I think he's right about that. I think that's a good word for your customers. Yes. They're more affluent. I like that. Benjamin asked the question, he's speaking to me personally, he says, how do you know those people won't pay you more and be high volume, great price? That's a great question. And the reason I know that, or the way that I know that, is because of, again, my closing rate. When I get around that, anywhere below 70%, I began to question that. And right now I'm probably about 60%. So my prices are, I'm probably topping out there to a certain, you know, for my clientele. Benjamin, if you'll go back just today and just watch the first few minutes of my video, you'll see that I'm in my neighborhood. And I kind of explained that Trenton, Ohio, 15,000 people, 3 stoplights. I call it a vinyl jungle. And you know these homes, Benjamin, these are just average homes. And if I want to stay close to my house, Benjamin, you know where Indian Hill is. Dude, that's 45 minutes from me. I will be glad to drive 45 minutes. But if I'm going to upsell, that means I've got to go there in person to do that. I can close 5 a day in my neighborhood within 15 minutes from me, and I can do 5 houses and make that kind of money, and I don't have to drive that far. So it's tit for tat, really. It's tit for tat. But the beautiful thing about my strategy is those people keep coming back to me, and I can stay in my locale. Of course, Benjamin knows that I claim anything from Northern Kentucky to stinking well past Dayton as my wash area. Stay out of my wash area.
You're trying to claim Corbin. What are you talking about?
I'll claim Corbin, Kentucky. Man, you better stay out of my wash area. That's my sign, but I'm the one who kicked over your sign. Yeah, that's how I know, Benjamin. I think that's a great question.
Yeah. I like this right here. Christina says bougie customers. Maybe.
Bougie. Bougie.
Yeah, fluent and bougie.
Bougie. Yeah. I kind of know, Jeremy, I'm with you there. I would love to have, if my locale were more bougie or more, what was the word there a moment ago? Affluent. Then yeah, I would go for your model. I really would. But Benjamin can attest that from Mason, Ohio on up, where I'm at, these are 2,000 square foot homes, and they're on top of each other for miles and miles and miles. That's just where I'm at, so it makes sense for me to jump on as many of those as I possibly can. They all have to be washed. I'll be the one to wash them. I'm glad to do it.
Right. Absolutely. I just want to be like Ben Gregory when I grow up.
Good luck with that. All right. Here's one for us real quick. We've been talking to Ben and some others who've been around for a while. Any advice for a newbie? 2 weeks deeps into the biz, probably got 3 jobs so far. Good job, brother. Fantastic. I got 100-yard signs and 1,000 postcards. Oh, Mr. Suds. I think I sold those to you, if I'm not mistaken. Good job, brother. Don't sell yourself short. You're doing fine. The advice is to stay with it, man. Just stay with it.
If you wash 3 houses in 2 weeks, that's probably more than I did in 2 weeks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's good, dude. I'm with you.
Don't knock yourself. I realize it's a tough struggle, but just keep at it.
Absolutely. Let's see here. I seen a message. Where'd it go? Yeah. So sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going
to go back.
I was going to pull up Van. Does anyone use an online booking app for customers to pick a la carte the services and schedule the date time window? So Van, that's got something to do with Responsibid. There's probably a couple others out there, but on Responsibid you can get like the cool little button clicker thing on your website, and I think that you can have your prices set inside that, so they can go through and they can answer the questions, put in like the rough square foot, and it's going to give them a rough estimate of whatever services they're looking for, as long as I think they know their numbers. But I'm pretty sure that's how I think you can set Responsibid up to do that with online booking and everything. About to find that out. I know I wish Noah was on here. He would know the answer to that because he uses Responsibid. But I think that's how that is. Sorry. You said Ben's reply back.
Ben replies to my statement there, and he says, so you're saying they only decide to pick you solely based on price. What if those same 60% would pick you at 20% more? Yeah, that's, I think aren't the numbers the same? The difference would be that I would have less customers. And again, I like having more customers because I have a database to draw from.
I think he means if you increased your ticket 20%, with them same 60 pick you, the same amount of people, the same 60%, would they pick you at a 20% higher ticket?
Well, the answer is I have raised it that 20%, and yes, they continue to say yes. So at some point I will do that. Okay, so Benjamin, you answer this question, or if you feel like it. The cost of living is 8% yearly. My increase every year is about between 10 and 13%. And so every year my prices go up 10% ish. So if Nancy hired me 4 years ago, when she calls back, I will be 40% more than I was the last time. Now you may say it's 20%, and I don't know that. My numbers may be off, but at that 10% increase, I managed to retain those customers. So, and it's 10 to 13% is what I raise it on a yearly. So I do eventually get that 20%, and I could throw another 20% out there, like, a hook in the water. I just have to do it. I do it just over a long period of time, or over a period of time. I don't even know if I answered your question. I apologize if I didn't.
I think you did. I think you did.
I know what I was saying.
Yeah, we know. Man, this has been a lot of fun tonight. I can't believe we went almost an hour and a half, Mike.
I'm colorblind, brother. I don't know what. I thought it was blue. I guess maybe it's not.
Violet he's setting the mood. Guys, this is great. We've had a lot of interaction. I'm stoked. Like, usually I'm in the bed, but I'm having a good time. I got a few more minutes in me before my wife strangles me.
We'll go a few more minutes.
Have Ben on the show. Hey, Ben. Mike.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to do that.
Mike Sterling Wash wants us to get you on the show. I want to get you on the show too. Let us know down below if you're down. We'll get you on here sometime in the future. Guys, by the way, I made a lot of good connections at Sales Boost, so we're going to have a lot of good special guests coming up on different subjects and stuff like that. So,
Tyler James asks, what's the best capital letters surface cleaner? It would be helpful to know what size machine that you're running. Let's say you're running an 8-gallon per minute machine, 8 GPM machine. I would say the Whisper Wash 19-inch Classic is the best thing out there. And I'm a Whisper Wash kind of guy. So with my 10 GPM machine, I use the 31-inch Mini Mondo. But if you're asking that question, it sounds like you're in the market. And if you're in the market, it sounds like you probably you haven't gotten there yet. So you're just now searching. And I would say the 19-inch Whisper Wash Classic is the best for an 8-gallon per minute machine.
I have a Classic. I run with an 8. I do like my Classic with the 8. However, I feel like the sweet spot would be a 24-inch ground force, or what's the other one? Aqua Force. It's pretty much a ground force without casters. So Aqua Force, Aquaflow. I'm a Whisper Wash guy.
I like the Whisper Wash. Now the Superior Exterior asks wheels or no wheels on surface cleaner. I like a floater myself for the smaller 19-inch. I like it to be lightweight. I'm a small guy, so I don't like to lift anything. But the 31-inch Mini Mondo, obviously, it has casters. I like no wheels personally. Three jobs this week, $2,700 in the week, opened March the 1st. George, good for you, buddy. Keep it up, man. Big things coming.
Strong week there, George. Absolutely strong. On that floater wheel, or the whatever, wheel or no wheel, I will say I think it depends. I've noticed it is kind of nice with the Mini Mondo that it just rolls across wherever you want to take it to when you're not cleaning, which then again, I think it's got this bigger, makes it nice to move around instead of packing it, because it can be a little heavy. I think it's like, 40 pounds or 44 pounds or something like that.
It's pretty darn heavy.
It's pretty heavy. I totally agree with you. I think as long as your machine is capable of floating I guess that's the way to say it, floating the surface cleaner, and that's a good option.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4-tip bar. I like a four-tip bar.
Yeah.
Mike.
I don't have a 4-tip bar, not that high speed. I tell you, however, I would look into the high-low solutions bar replacement, the tornado bar. I think you can get them in different sizes. So it's actually, the Whisper Wash is just a straight bar with 2 tips. The high-low is 4 bars with a tip in each bar. So it's supposed to be less strapping if you have that issue.
Okay, I like it. Facebook user says, what's the trick to terrible water pressure at residential homes? I've been running out of water on every job lately, even with a 100-gallon buffer tank. I'm going to suggest that that's your problem. I don't know what size machine you're running, but you probably need you need to be taking more than 100 gallons of water. Most residential homes shoot between 4 and 6 gallons.
200-gallon minimum buffer tank.
Yeah, that's right. You need 200 gallons at least.
Depending on your machine, 8-gallon, 200-gallon minimum. Also, if you're using a filter, check your filter and check your float valve, your Hudson float valve. If you're running a Hudson float valve, I had a problem when I first started my first year. Hudson float valve. I used a 55-gallon drum. And I was like, man, why am I running out of water? Like, I'm not like surface cleaning and doing this, and this house has good water pressure. But my Hudson float valve was stopped plumb up, and it wasn't letting much water go down.
Yeah, I don't run a valve. I don't run a filter anymore. I just chance it. And then that's a great one right there. 3/4 inch supply hose. I forget the guy's name. It was a Facebook. It was a Facebook guy who asked that question about make sure you've got 3/4 inch hose for your supply hose.
Yeah. You bypass your reel, or you could just get one of them 1-inch manifold Titan reels. Either way.
Mm-hmm. I bypass. I almost never have a problem. I have that 330-gallon tote that everyone said you needed to double that. And I opted not to. The day will come when I will regret that on any given job. But today, Michaela and I are washing. I come around the corner and it's overflowing. You can watch it, by the way. Go in tonight's video. I'm trying to get likes and clicks here. Go in tonight's video, and when I show you my rig about 3/4 of the way through, you'll see water coming off the side. That's because I don't have a shutoff valve, and water was coming out of my buffer tank. But I'm cool with that.
Hey, Mark, there's probably a link right above in the description. If you click that link, it gives StreamYard access to share your profile so we can actually see who's chatting and your name, and I have a cool high-speed Facebook picture beside of that.
I didn't know that, Mike. I'll definitely look into that.
Yes, Judd's new float valve looks pretty sweet. It's all mechanical. It's not electronic or anything like that.
You're 100% correct, Lynchburg.
Mike drives through where I live at, and he knows there's nothing here.
Yeah, Jeremy is from my homes that I own there in Virginia and Tennessee. Jeremy is exactly halfway for me. In fact, we had lunch the other day. Thought he was going to treat me to lunch, since I was coming to town. But
well, I mean, you went in front of me and you paid. I thought you were paying for mine. No, he didn't get yours. So.
Whatever.
Yeah. So I'll share these numbers with you, Dave. I don't really say I serve cities because there would be no population if I said cities. I serve counties, and Corbin just happens to be a city seat that's in pretty much 3 counties. Technically, it's 2 because there's a state law saying a city can't be in 3. But anyways, who's talking state law? But anyways, the 3 counties, there's approximately 100 to maybe 110,000 people over 3 counties that I serve. So that gives you an idea on my population there.
Mr. Suds asks a very important question. I'm going to do my best to answer this with a lot of seriousness, or in all seriousness. Big question: how do you know when it's time to pull the trigger for full time? Obviously, when I answer this, I'm going to answer it personally. What I would do. Now, I didn't have that problem because I was out of work. So the first house I washed was full time, So, but here are a few things personally that I would I would ask you to consider as a responsible individual. Do you have health insurance for you and your family? That's one that you can afford and that you can pay, and it's not Obamacare. Okay, there, I said it. But do you have that? And if you feel comfortable with Obamacare, then so be it. But you have insurance. I would say have 3 to 6 months of your expenses in the off season guaranteed. 3 to 6 months in the off season guaranteed. I say in the off season because you can have that in September, and that sounds good. But that 3 to 6 months is guaranteed to be used come December. But in the off season, do you have enough to get you through to where come June, you're already lining up work and you don't have to live on that 3 to 6 months, if that makes sense. So you've got health insurance, you've got 3 to 6 months backed up. And if you are currently employed and they offer you a benefit package, you're able to provide for yourself that benefit package. For instance, if they're offering you retirement, but you can't at this point go out and get a Roth IRA, at least one, and you've got, again, those emergency funds that I was speaking of, I wouldn't do that. So let's reverse engineer this. You've got 3 to 6 months living expenses that are set up for your off season that you can, in your off season, you can do that. Secondly, you've got insurance, medical insurance for you and your family. And then you've got the same benefit package that you would have if you were to quit your full-time job. You see what I'm saying? Or if you were to hang on to your full-time job. So if you quit, you have that same kind of benefit package. And here's the fourth thing. Who asked that? Mr. Suds? Who asked that?
Yeah, that's him. That's
okay, Mr. Suds. Then what you just said there, I've got a wife and 4 kids. Your wife supports you in this endeavor.
Yeah.
If she does not support you in this endeavor, it's not worth it, man. Don't have an argument because you want to be happy.
Right.
We can do marriage counseling. I will take donations for marriage counseling if need be.
Don't rush it. Don't rush it. It's okay to be the part-time washer. It's okay to be the side hustle. It's okay. It's okay to be there until you get yourself in a position, in a spot. Let me get that out there.
I like it.
To make that choice. Don't do it for the sake of doing it. Make sure your lead flow is there, your workflow is there, your support's there, and your safety net is there.
That's good. Yeah, and I appreciate Mike what he just said here also about full time. Does your wash business exceed your daily? That's good. So in other words, are you bringing in the same income, if not more, than what you do at the steel plant?
And you got to think it. Factor in taxes too. Just don't look at the gross revenue.
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
You got to factor in expenses and everything. Jonathan, you're also 20. I don't want to hear it. I'm just kidding, man. You're a stud. You're killing it.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Yeah, he's great.
One or two more, and I'm gonna hit the eject button.
Yeah.
Everyone buy Mike's shooter tip. That's exactly right. It's called the Carlton. $299.99.
What's shipping and handling nowadays, Mike?
I'll hand deliver it for $300, bro. Let me tell you.
Yeah. I'm shutting up.
Off camera, you can fill in the blanks there for me. All right, guys, thank you so much. Jeremy, I prayed last week. It's your time to pray, my friend. If you can. If you can.
I can do it. Quit. I can.
Hold on a second before you pray.
What is this?
That's our prayer and meditation music.
Obviously.
I got to share a story with you. Can I share a story before you pray? Guys, listen to this. Years ago, young fella passed away. I'm sorry I'm laughing. That's terrible. It was a long time ago. He's been in heaven a long time. And he was as redneck as the day is long. And his family, I preached the funeral, and then we have the graveside service. And the family, this hillbilly family, and those are my people, okay? So I can call them what I want to. They bring a boom box and they sit it beside the casket, and they wanted to know, would it be okay if while I pray, they played music? God's honest truth, true story. Now, I'm not going to say no. And I said, sure, that's fine. So I start to pray. They press the play button. And it was Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Yes.
They're playing Lynyrd Skynyrd, Freebird. The not radio friendly. Do you know how many times you can pray the sinner's prayer to Freebird? Do you know how many times you can recite Psalm 23 in a prayer to Freebird? Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I'm as free as a bird now. And the funeral directors are behind the tree dying laughing. And I'm dragging this thing out. God, my life, the things that happen.
That's a 9-minute prayer.
Is that a 9-minute prayer, Mike?
Jeremy, you gotta pray to this. You gotta pray to this music.
Obviously, no, I'm not praying unless it's Freebird. I'm not doing it. I'm not.
Hold on.
I don't know if I can pray for laughing right now.
Hold on.
Why does your light just change?
I don't know. I think that was the Holy Spirit saying, "Stop it, Carmody, stop it."
Is that what it is? That's that mood light in there.
Get the little mood lighting going on here. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We went way long tonight, and we're super glad that you joined us. And thank you so much. We're gonna have a great time on the next podcast as well. We hope that you join us. Would you? Please?
Hey, we're gonna have a little special guest in about 2 weeks. We're gonna talking about Facebook ads again and my results with Facebook ads, and I'll share some numbers with you guys.
Yep.
So 2 more weeks gives me about the 4-week mark to share some real feedback with my experience with GML Media with Gage. So we'll be sharing some of that info and have him on the show. So come with some questions. We're going to be thinking of some questions to ask him. So absolutely. So I guess we're going to land the plane here and we're ready for prayer.
Sounds good to me.
All right, let's go.
Go.
Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to gather tonight, Lord, in fellowship, Lord, and
I'm sorry. I should have done
Lord,
that.
I
I'm sorry. I'm
pray for-
sorry.
I
Forgive me.
pray for Mike, Lord. Lord, just forgive me, Lord, for laughing, and I just ask that you'll be with us, Lord, on our daily walks. Watch over us, keep us safe, Lord. Allow us to. Anyways, Lord, forgive my family for they know not what they do. And just be with us, watch over us, forgive us our sins. We thank you for your son Jesus. In his name I pray.
God.
Amen.
Thank you, Lord, for grace. Thank you, Lord, for grace.
Forgive me.
God,
Forgive
that
me.
was his wife.
Yeah. You guys have a good one.
All right. God bless us all. God bless America.
Woo!